Welcome back to the Tech Moto channel. We have a new series coming up and starting up in the next week or so. We're going to be taking the motorbike known as Friday, around the North Coast 500. So that's the route that goes all the way around the northernmost coast of Scotland. So this first video, I thought I'd show you my loadout, show you what I'm taking with me, show you how I'm setting it up, ready to go in a week's time. So let's start with Friday. Friday is my motorbike. For those of you that watched my Spain trip last year, that's the name of my bike. Friday is set up for vlogging. So I've put a few new bits and pieces on the bike so that it charges the cameras, and cameras are easier to manage on the trip. And then the luggage and all the other bits and pieces. So let's just go through the bike and then I'll show you what my loadout is going to be. So first and foremost, when I went to Spain, I put a GoPro on the front of my bike. I put a 360 camera on the bike. I was trying to control the GoPro with one of the GoPro remote controls, and it was god awful. It wouldn't turn on, it wouldn't turn off, or when you turned it on, it would take about 30 seconds to activate the camera, and that's just no good. You know, if something's happening in front of you, you want to capture it, you want to flick a button and the camera come on straight away. So we've got rid of the remote and we're going to do things slightly differently. So we are mounting the camera in exactly the same space on the bike, on the top of the spotlight here. But what we've decided to do this time, whereas in Spain I was using the camera, it would run for about half an hour and then you'd have to change the battery out. And so, you know, if you're on a long trip, 4 hours or something like that, you'd have to stop every now and again and change the battery. So what I've decided to do this time is run some power to it. Now, this is an addition to the bike, which is a USB-C power port. So you can seal it up from the weather. It's got a nice little rubber seal on there. So when you're not using it and you're just using the bike as normal, nobody would really know that it was there. When you want to film, just unscrew that waterproof cover, take this cable, plug it in, and now that GoPro has power forever. So as long as the bike's got power in its battery, that GoPro is running. So same thing for the 360. We have the Insta360 here. I've mounted it on a 360 pole. Now, for those of you that don't know, 360 is a 360-degree photograph, but what it does is it automatically deletes the pole from underneath it. So you get a view from this as if the camera is just floating in front of the bike. And loads of people will comment on the video when I eventually make it to say, oh my God, you know, how did you get that shot? Well, that's it. It's a Insta360 on a pole. The pole is attached to my crash frame here by these little clamps, and they're super secure, but I'm going to put a little cable on there as well, just in case it falls off. But what you can do is you can just undo 1, 2, collapse down the telescopic frame, and put the camera away in a bag or something when you go off shopping or when you leave the bike. Again, I have put a charging point here on the spotlight, so you've got your cover here, and if you undo this, you could put a cable on there to a USB-C. As normal, the bike will have dash cams on it, so if anything happens or if anything's going on that I've missed with my cameras, the dash cams will capture. There's a dash cam on the front of the bike here, and there is a camera on the back of the bike just here, and these cameras are running all the time, and they go to this screen on the front of the bike, so they're running at all times. And what they do is they record video content until the card is full, and then what it does is it overwrites the video from the start of the card, and then it just continues to cycle that and rotates that. So every hour or so it overwrites itself. But of course, if anything happens, if you know you crash your bike or if something runs out in front of you, whatever, and you want that footage, you can just stop it on the screen. You can save that footage on the screen, and it saves that element of the SD card. So a slight change for this year, no longer using the remote for the GoPros. And what I've decided to do is mount 3 phones. Now when I say phones, this one here is a phone, and that's going to have my music and sat-nav and everything else on it. These 2 are just devices, they're not actually phones. So this one is going to be connected directly to the GoPro. This one's going to be connected directly to the Insta360, and I'll be able to see a live view of what those cameras are seeing. Now, I lost some footage in Spain because flies hit the lens of the camera, and I then videoed for another hour with a fly smack in the middle of the lens. So this will enable me to see the fly, stop the bike, clean the lens, and carry on. It also enables me to start and stop the cameras, change from video to photo, see how the memory card's doing, everything about the camera. I can also upload to the internet. I could stream live as well, but I'm guessing that in the remoteness that I'm going to, there won't be the signal I need to be able to do that. So I've got complete control of my cameras from the handlebars this time. Okay, on the front of the bike I have 2 bags. These bags just sort of sit on the crash bars of the bike, and in here I have all of my security stuff for the bike. So if we just unzip that, you can see in here there's locks for helmets, there's a brake lock, and so on. On the other side I have a chain, a massive padlock, and other bits and pieces. So whenever you leave your bike, if you're thinking that it's in a risky place, you can take your security items out of those bags and put it on the bike and secure the bike. That's the reason they're in those bags, because of course, if you don't need them, then you can leave the stuff in the bags. But those 2 bags are just about bike security. Okay, also on the crash bars at the front of the bike, I have these 2 bags. There's a bag like this on the other side as well. And inside this bag is spare fuel. So if I do end up going somewhere quite remote, I've got a litre of fuel on each side. I'm also going to carry 1.5 litres on the back of the bike as well. So I'll have about 3 or 4 litres of fuel for an emergency if I need it. Okay, now something really important, my butt. Last year on the trip to Spain, I tried blow up saddle pillows. I tried everything. I even got to the point where I was buying cushions and things from service stations to see if I could do something. The bike is great for about 2 hours. After 2 hours, it gets a bit sore. So I've looked online, everybody suggests sheepskins. And so I have bought a lambskin. And this one here will fit across. I'll have tents and other bits and pieces on the back here, but it'll provide a soft layer for me to sit on. I don't know if that's going to work. If it doesn't, then I'll get rid of it, but hopefully it will. The other nice thing about going to Scotland is I'm not doing the 6-hour drives across long distances. So I'll be doing about 100 miles tops a day, which shouldn't be too bad. So I've got that if I need it, and it'll be interesting to see if it works. Okay, when you're on a trip, you might want to charge things. So on the back here, I have a power cable that goes into the right side pannier. Now inside this pannier is everything to do with camping. So this literally has everything you could possibly need. It has pans, it has power, there's a little extendable fishing rod in there, there's cables for when I get power if I stop at a campsite, there's fuel, just everything you can possibly imagine. But that little power cable comes into 2 USB sockets in there, and those are always live. So the bike doesn't have to be on for those sockets to be useful. I do have lots of other gadgets and kit, which I'll show you in a minute, for charging things with USBs and 3-pin sockets, but that's really useful. Say my music runs out of power, I can just throw it in the pannier for half an hour, charge it up, and use it again. Really useful. What I've also got in the top of the pannier here is my head torches and a penknife. So the obvious things, when you get somewhere in the dark and you've got to set your tent up, the head torch is the first thing that you're going to really need. So pannier on this side, all camping stuff. Okay, so the rear pannier, the box on the back of the bike, is all about every day. So it's the things I'm going to need during the day, out on the ride. So not things I'm going to need when I camp, not things that I'm going to need when I stop. These are things that I need on the ride. So in there will be camera batteries, cables, wet weather gear, the drone, all that sort of stuff will be in this box. So I can get to it straight away, no messing about, no removing tents and other bags and other bits and pieces. So that's my live day bag. On the top of this pannier, I've put this little bag here. Horrendously expensive, I must point out. I thought I was buying 2 of them and I got 1. But this bag will be used for food for day to day. So that will have, crisps and sweets and cans and bacon and God knows what else in there. But that there is just for food. So you know, if people help themselves to that while it's in a car park, it wouldn't be great, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. It is locked on because the bag, as I say, is expensive. So I've got these two little locks on there to stop people from running off with the bag itself. Okay, so tools. What do you carry on a long trip? And it's always the toss-up of, you know, what's the weight going to be? You know, do you carry a whole load of tools, or do you just carry the bare minimum? Chances are if you carry the bare minimum, then, you know, you're going to break down and you need a specific tool. So I have this little box on the back here that I've attached to my rear box pannier. Inside here is an electric pump that'll pump my tyres up. There's a puncture repair kit. There's, you know, pliers, spanners, you know, everything you could need. So a set of Allen keys and so on. It is fairly heavy, but it's not too bad. So I'd say I've gone between the sort of the extremes, but I do have an electric pump and a tyre repair kit, so I can repair my tyres as many times as I want to while I'm out on the road, which will be a good idea because I'm going to be remote. Okay, the pannier on the other side, that will just be for clothes. So everything I need for a week will be in here. I've got a first aid kit in the top here, all of my bungees for putting the tent on the back there, but that is it, regards clothes. Now, realistically, I'm going to be on the bike, so, you know, I'm not going to need many clothes, but, you know, a pair of shorts, pair of trousers, a couple of t-shirts and so on. So that's that whole pannier. On the front here, I've got another fuel bag. And this here is my drinks holder. So I've got a flip top helmet, and you can just sort of, as you're going, you know, have a little drink as you go, which is quite useful. Okay, other important bits and pieces. So my suit, my bike suit, is great in the summer because you can open all the windows and there's a draft that flows through it. But if it being Scotland, if it's cold, if it's raining, if it's nasty weather, I'm gonna have a suit that heats up. So I've got things that heat up my feet, my trousers. I've got a heated gilet that does my body. I've got heated gloves, and they all connect to this cable here. So again, all powered by the bike. So if I wanted to, I could travel for 4 or 5 hours and I just have a heated suit all the way. I've also got on this bike heated seats here as well, so I can have various settings there. And there's one on the back, which I won't need because I'm not carrying a passenger. And I've also got heated grips here as well. So I've got, yeah, I'm not going to get cold. Okay, well, I can hear you saying, yes, that's fine, Graham, but you're camping. Where's the tent? Where's the sleeping bag? Where's the bed? Where's the pillows? Where's the light? It's all fine. It's going to go on the back of the bike, and it's going to be on the back seat like this. So you can see it just sort of pops up on the back. It's actually great because you can sort of rest back on it a little bit as well as you're driving. Now, if you stop at service stations or you leave your bike to go for a little walk or something, leaving stuff on the bike is a real risk. You know, you come back to it and somebody will have half-inched your tent. And so I have this little gadget, which is very cool. It's like a chainmail kind of bag that locks with a padlock. And that's got my tent in there. It's got a dry bag, and in that dry bag has my sleeping bag, has the bed, has a chair. Basically all the bulky stuff will just go on the back of the bike there. But with this little sort of protective security bag, it means I can leave the bag for a little while and walk off and get some food and come back, and nobody would have been able to steal anything off the bike. And I've got everything in there that I need to camp. And so I won't really need to go anywhere near this bag during the day. I don't have to faff about taking it on and off. It's literally when I stop at the campsite, take it out of the bag, use it, put it back in the bag, and that's the rest of the day. So that's how the bike is set up. Next, I'm going to go through all the bits and pieces I'm taking with me, which I know is the big question that people ask. You know, do you go full luxury and take everything? Do you go bare minimum and have a light bike? Well, I've gone middle of the ground, and I've used some pretty innovative tools to reduce weight and reduce size. So let's go through everything that I'm taking with me. Okay, so let's run through everything I'm taking with me on the trip. Now, you might have questions about these. You can stick it in the comments. You might have better ideas. Please do stick those in the comments. But this is kind of what I'm thinking of taking with me. So that's it. That's everything. Now, just go through this one by one. I'm not going to sort of spend time on each individual thing, but I'll just show you what I'm taking. So first things first, this is a brake lock, so you can secure your bike. Obviously the bike keys. I've already mentioned the lambskin seat cover, helmet obviously, fuel bottles, phones and devices for operating my cameras, cable ties. Cable ties are essential. Summer gloves, little sort of neck things that are quite handy. These are my earplugs. This is a cool little gadget for fixing my helmet to the bike when I leave it there. Some of those emergency blankets, just in case. That, believe it or not, is the hole cooker, and I'll show you that later. This is an extendable telescopic fishing rod and fishing reel. This is a pump, little tiny 12-volt pump for pumping up my bed. That's an inflatable pillow. That's all my cooking stuff, so kettle, pans, cups, everything. This is cooking utensils, so that's got in it a chopping board, knives, everything you could possibly want to cook on the road. Fuel for the cooker, lots and lots of bug repellent because we're going to Scotland in August. This is a extension lead that goes to the power ports at campsites. If I do camp and I want to power something, that'll be useful. Black bags, laptop and mouse and screen and stuff for editing my videos, and an accessory so I can get to the memory cards and so on. That'll be around my waist, a little bum bag. These batteries, these are off my Ryobi tools. They're 5 amp hours, but what you can do is you can stick this gadget on top and it gives you 240 volts and it gives you USB ports. Now on that 240 volts I can recharge my laptop 1.5 times. So I've got 2 batteries, which gives me lots of time on my laptop if I want to edit movies and stuff while I'm in remote locations. And this one here, that just charges it up. So when I get to somewhere with power, I can charge my batteries up with that. That's all of my waterproof kit that goes over the top of my suit if it really does hoon down. These are waterproof gloves, but they've also got a battery pack in them and you can plug them into the bike, so they're heated gloves. This is my booster, so if for whatever reason my battery dies, I can start my bike using that. More jungle formula, the drone batteries and controller for the drone. This is microphones, lapel mics for my GoPros. This is my charging units for all of the GoPro batteries that I'm going to be taking with me. Batteries for the 360, all sorts of stuff for cameras, SD cards and wires and things. Water bottles, a chain and a decent lock, really important. Then we come on to the clothing. So I've got my alpine jacket, alpine trousers. I've got one of those vests that explodes if you fall off your bike. There's an air canister that goes off and fills up around your neck and around important organs, so that's useful. Got my heated kit, so that's my heated gilet, heated trousers and so on, and then of course the helmet. So that's pretty much it, other than clothes. That's what I'm taking with me on the trip. Now, it looks like quite a lot, but when you spread it across the 3 panniers, actually I've got loads of space left. The tent and the sleeping bag and everything else will go on the back of the bike, and it can all be secured so I can go off and wander around towns or do whatever I want to do and leave things on the bike. I won't be leaving laptops and GoPros and drones and things on the bike overnight at any point. So those will be with me constantly. I've got a backpack and I will take those things, the valuable things, out and put them in my bag. I will never leave them with the bike. But the rest of it, you know, all the camping stuff and what have you can stay on the bike. But yeah, that's it. That is the subtotal of stuff I'm taking away to wild camp and to camping campsites every now and again in Scotland at the end of this week. So come with me on the journey, follow along. I'm going to do a few videos of packing all this stuff onto the bike and where it's going to go and how it's going to fit. Tonight I'm camping out. I'm going to test out the tent and the bed and everything else. I'm going to make sure I've got everything. I'm doing a sort of dry run. And then I've got a week of work. I'm working all weekend at the end of that week on a residential for inner city kids. And then on the Monday afternoon, it's all go, ready to head up to Inverness on the Tuesday. It's exciting, but join me on the journey.